Hello everyone, welcome to the March. We are finally through the January and February. This is another energy update, you know the drill. I recorded a load of energy updates lately, but I never posted it because I had a lot of interferences online. Things are getting a little bit more tricky as well online in general, which is interesting because if you think about it, okay, how the new earth is gonna look like, right? Or how is it gonna look like when we are moving forward? Oftentimes you hear the people saying that the new earth is gonna look old and the old earth is gonna look too new. So it's like the transhumanism, or going more AI and going really you can see the pull towards the technology is ginormous. I met a lot of people who are actually offline a lot, which is interesting. And I wonder if actually that is not gonna be the case, that we're gonna be practically more maybe telepathic, but I guess the internet is still gonna exist, right? We still gonna using it. We're gonna still use the tool for sure. But it just it makes me wonder what's gonna happen on that level. It's gonna be probably oh my gosh, you will have to be really restricted your time to, okay, block this time that I'm gonna be spending online, and then otherwise I'm offline completely. And I start noticing this past couple of, I don't know, this year, last year for sure, how I'm getting off the Instagram because I can't go there anymore. It's there is this massive pool, and there is a lot of underlying frequencies which I do not like. There is a lot. It is not very healthy environment, as I can put it. There is a lot of infiltration as well, but still I'm still using it, not much. But I'm just wondering what's gonna happen with all of this technology thing, what we are running a lot of things online. But nevertheless, the energies of the collective are of a shame. The main reason I'm showing up is that because shame is showing up. Shame is not an emotion, it's a fragmentation. And practically, I finally understood as well the guidance I got from and the way I am reading the field is I don't know why, but I always know that everything what is playing in front of me is me. So I perceive the way I am reading the reality, or the way I am bringing all these energy updates, which I'm telling you what is happening for us on the emotional level, physically, energetically. I'm tapping into the other information that are not available by the a naked eye, right? I'm reading the energy. I analyze the energy constantly. So when something is in my reality, I am observing it, and I'm constantly dissecting it. That's how I read. You can read. I mean, we all are designed to do that. I mean, if the brain is for something, then it's very good for analyzing the data, right? But you have to be aware of your filters. So then, when you are filtering the energies through, so you don't put certain conditions or filters on it and try to make a meaning of it. Most of the yogis say, don't. If you want to be in the present moment, don't make a meaning about anything. But the brain is naturally wired that way, and it's if you think about it, it's a really very powerful processor of the data. Of course, it gets overloaded. Overload is gonna be it's a major theme of this month. It's gonna be overload, the frequency overload. There is a lot of fear. Oh, okay, the fear frequency of 19 hertz. It's 18 point something. The frequency of fear was switched off. It's being switched off for periods, and then it gets on and it gets switched off again. we have a new frequency of 25 hertz, which is a repair frequency. And then there is now new around 31 hertz on the recording the screen. So here you can see it's actually there is a frequency of like 30 hertz, which is amazing. That was the 8th of March, and then it disappeared. It was there just for like one day. But this is the frequency of the fear I'm always talking about. That one is broadcasted past couple of years. That's why we have so many problems as well, like to manifest abundance, for example, or money, or a lot of things. Because of this frequency, it is keeping you constantly like in that frequency. So you have to beat it with the other frequency. That's why like getting some of the 432 hertz really good like a sound to get in touch with that natural frequency of the planet is very important. This is the frequency of repair. It's very strong. It cuts the fear, and then see it is running together with the frequency of the 30 hertz. And this frequency, I was doing some research on it, but I have to have a look at it. So we have a frequency of repair the entire March. February, it started already at the end of the February, and it is constantly cutting up the fear so we can actually repair. So what is going to be happening for you in your reality is that the people from the past who you have, let's say, there was something, let's say my father showed up after 7 years not talking to me. We had a conflict around finances. And there is this family karma. It's funny because I don't believe in a karma. But it's funny that I don't believe in a lot of things. And then they I didn't even know that they were chakras. And then I start seeing them. And then, you don't believe in a karma, but then it's written in your natal chart. And then it is constant. If you have a look back on the past, it's all manifesting it's so clear. So yeah, I'm kind of deconstructing that part, because consider if you are the generation like I am 45, 46 this year, right? That means that you're going to be experiencing completely different things than the people who are, let's say, 20 years old. So, or the star seeds that are bringing a different type of information or are more like tuned into the other side and don't have so many like difficulties. That's because, we were much more imprinted by the system. We took on way more distortions than, let's say, they did. So my job, at least the way I feel about like ascension and like about all the evolution and then the consciousness thing that everybody's talking about, is that my role in it is to bring awareness to certain things in the field, that you can read it for yourself, because it's good to compare the data. Energy doesn't lie. So yeah, and what is happening in the body? Well, I will continue on the update. What is happening in the body? We still have like sleepless nights. There is a repair frequency, which is amazing. It's you're gonna be repairing the stuff, repairing the relationships which can be repaired, getting rid of the stuff what you need to get rid of, allowing yourself to, let's say, go in the direction of what you really need like energetically. For example, for me this part is extremely hard, because I mean, living in a harsh world, right, which doesn't really look on everything as a frequency. And when you're living from that type of lens, it's very difficult for you to function in the regular world, because you see everything through the lens of energy. And then people are like, what energy? Yeah, because they're not sensitive enough. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? The world got extremely noisy. I can tell you, for the frequency wise, I do not want to be out there. The LED lights, the artificial lights practically. There is a lot of interferences coming through the radio stations in the store. And I don't want to go out in the night. For me, it's like I know that I get like attacks, interferences. I will get polluted just getting out in the night, just because the world they changed the street lights, and from that's a new frequency. It's a different frequency than the one we used to have, the yellow soft lights. Now we have these white kind of daylight looking lights. It bothers the heck out of me, you know, like, I mean, the body recognizes it as like a daylight in the night. It's not good light. I don't like that light, even though I'm using the daylight too, but I'm using the daylight in the lamp. For example, as an artist, most of the artists are like having in the studios the daylight, so it's a white light, but I'm switching it in the evening for the yellow light because it's better for the eyes. So I mean, we will see more and more of the distortions of the frequencies on this type of level, on the subtle levels. So that is definitely manifesting in, I mean, we got more awareness, and that will be definitely, you might be noticing it, you know, I mean, they will definitely manifesting in your life. And I will continue on the update, so if you're more interested to like hear what my take on the energetics and what is happening for us emotionally and in the body, and where we are heading, then, you know, stay tuned. So let's continue on the energetics of March. So the start of the year, the message I got was 3 red pills. And fair enough, today or yesterday, I was listening, what's her name? Debbie, I don't know, she's this energy reader as well, an energy worker, and like they do this soul connection, divine counterparts and things like that. Another like healers and star seeds, you know, like the awaken lot. And she was speaking about the same thing. She just had a different analogy about it. But this year is all about, we gonna be dealing with unfinished business, and it's not gonna be pretty. So shame is showing up. Shame is a big one. It's fragmentation. If you are old, like enough, like let's say 40, around 40s, 45, like let's say me, then you're gonna be dealing with that one for sure, because it is like a family lineage thing. It's a shame, and we are experiencing the shame in the world, and there is a lot of fear, and there is but again, there is a frequency of repair that is running past couple of weeks already. So we're gonna be experiencing as well the good stuff. So let's say you have a problem in the relationships, you're gonna be meeting a different relationships that are gonna be a little bit more healing. I met neighbors here, they are all awake, and I'm like, wow, like this emotional awareness they have, it's like phenomenal. And it's really interesting that even for challenges, even that say they don't see that spectrum of the shame that we are actually having here in the town. And I couldn't like figure it out in this place in Ireland where I am based at the moment. There was fought the biggest battle, I think, of the entire country, the bloodiest, and the female suppression in this area was like on the highest, because there is like factories, and then they polluted this area because they have there is a fertilizer factory, and they polluted the river to such an extent that all the fish died. And I couldn't get this spot when we moved in. I knew that as an empath, you're naturally like tuning as well into the most densest and the most dangerous energies in the room, right? So you have to learn as an empath, specifically as an empath. And if by the astrology, if your first house is empty, that you have no sense of self, you will constantly thinking that everything is you. That's like how I am reading the energies. It's like I think everything is me. It's like I'm aware of the fact that it's my manifestation of something. that I am energetically matched to, for example. So I couldn't figure out like why I am in this place. Why is it so difficult for me, let's say, to dip in the sea? Because this is not Atlantic, I am on the Irish Sea. There are some portals actually in here, which is interesting. So there is like a lot of as well magic like playing on this part of the country. There is more south you go, you've got Michael Skellig, that's a Stargate in here. It's phenomenal. It's untouched, unspoiled, functional, operational Stargate on the planet, because there is only one person living on it, on that island, and you could read about like a person living on an island like that where is a Stargate, right? Only the tourists come to visit sometimes for a tour. They go up and they go down, that's it. And a person lives there. Imagine that. Like, Ireland has a lot of magic, and I think like it plays a very interesting role because like we have a very different air, and I always see like this is one of the most expensive country in the Europe to live in. The rents are like absolutely nuts, like everything costs here, but like the commodity what I would never trade for anything else is the air, for example, right? The freshness. So yeah, but the densities that are playing out at the moment are of a shame. Tim Fletcher is a great person to have a look on. He's got on YouTube the full series about a shame. I was watching it and I was listening it, and then he has there the aspects or the fragments of like shame, and you can rate yourself and from 1 to 10, like a check on the score, like how much shame you still carry, because you will carry a lot of like as well ancestral shame. Let's say being poor, right? I was constantly bumping into this homeless person in here, and I'm like, why the heck is this person in my experience? I mean, like, why is it I am seeing this homeless person in the store, and I'm bumping into him at least 3-4 times a week? And I said hi to him like the other day, and I think something shifted, like with the thing like that you were like, okay, you acknowledge that it's there. And what started showing up for me as well is like, like the roof above the head and owning a house or things like this, like the insecurities on that level. But it's a collective energy as well, this one, because like a lot of people like consider like there is a financial as well debt in the field at the moment. So we're gonna be experiencing a lot of this densities. So it's very good to have a look on the shame, because you have to collect those fragments. It's not an emotion, it's not a classical thing. And the loners, if you're a loner, let's say like me, they say the lonely people are the most fragmented people in the world. So I was looking on it, it's not that bad. I don't have it that bad, but like let's say unfinished projects, that's on the list. This kind of like the feeling of like, oh, I'm forever broken by this experience. I have this feeling all my life. I am forever broken by the human experience. It's just so fucking nuts, dense, cruel, rough, like it's there is as well beauty in like a lot of the things. And I know that like the most toughest school, like you have to qualify to come here. So extraterrestrials can kiss my butt because they're not here, unless they are not having a human experience. Because like, honestly, it's not what we sign up for sure. And everything is more intense, and it's gonna be more intense. And at the moment, there is this urge that we have to deal with certain things in our lives. So be it a shame, be it codependent relationships, is gonna play out a lot in the relationships. It's gonna play out a lot on the field of career, jobs, how we do things. It's very tricky to navigate even like the internet world. Let's say Etsy. Like for me as a small business seller, like Etsy, like I know Etsy a lot because I mean, with the years, I had a lot of Etsy shops, and so I know the platform. Even that platform changed like ginormously. So it's interesting like where we at as well from this point of view, like when you have a look on the technological sort of on. We are still working on the identity and the self-image. That's why the shame is showing up as well. A lot of, I would say that most of us got a little bit pulled and looking on our, how we do the things, how we want to show up in the world from now on, because we are in a very unknown territory. And as an artist, let's say for me, right now, even with the shame and where we are talking about like the energetics and what is happening on the emotional level, what is showing up for us in the field, is the value, to having the value. And it's like it's coming with this self-worth, and but because you are worthy of like everything, it's just like for me this concept of the self-worth doesn't really make sense. So I had to find out like something else that really make more sense to me, like why I'm having, let's say, these type of experiences. And it is all comes down to the values. Specifically now, because we are in the eclipse season as well. So we're gonna be experiencing a lot of as well astrological influences. I'd say for me, as my on my astrological clock wired imprint or whatever you want to call it, I will be always challenged on the dharma and a purpose and a creativity. So like me, it's just in my planets is all there. But I can see it as a way forward. I can see this as like, for me, the creative expression at the moment is the only thing we have left. 11:11. That was synchronicity. And this is a beautiful thing. Like I met these neighbors and like they are definitely like, they are awake. The guy has a lot of shame. And we are like definitely like there is a lot of healing gonna be happening, like just meeting with the dogs and running them in the woods. And we've heard too, it's absolutely like a, you know, even you can find the beauty of like even relationships which are coming like through this woundedness, right? Because we usually form the relationships that are like the trauma bonds. But the creative expression, for me, like I am constantly thinking about it. She said something twice, and it kept constantly bringing me back to the last and the basic need, what Bashar was giving into the entire collective, like the basic needs that the human really have, 7 basic needs, and the last one is creative expression. Because if you do not express yourself creatively, you are dead. And the message I got like these days is like, you have to understand and own and here's the word, to take the responsibility and to take the ownership of the fact that you are the creator being. And you have to understand how to create, because here is it not that easy. Here, like when you have a situation going on, the way you can deal with it is you have to neutralize it first, so that you get into the 0 point. And then from there you have to level it up so you can actually create something better. Like how the structure works, how the quantum field works, how the reality is really created, like on a frequency level, right? So the way you deal with any type of situation you have in your life is that you have to give it a gratitude. So you have to be okay that it's there. That means you go with it like with this acceptance of it's there, right? And not making it about, oh, it's me. It is you, but in those moments, you have to choose to observe, just observe it. Like they say that you're gonna be in this observer mode, right? So when you just observing it neutrally, trying to be as neutral as possible, even when you are like in a really densest energies, like a shame, for example, right? When you give it a gratitude, that's how you neutralize it. You can say, oh, thank you very much. And like, oh, look at this. Like, wow. Like, I didn't even know that I still have some like a shame and fragmentation going on. And then when you just acknowledge it, then suddenly you get more intel and you get more different like information coming into the field because you just sort of open up to it. And another thing is energy not perceived doesn't exist. So if you were perceiving a lot of it when you were a kid, chances are that, you know, you still keeping repeating this sort of reprinting in your field where you unconsciously, so you're just becoming conscious about it. And the moment you're conscious about it, so that's why you give it a gratitude. Oh yeah, thanks so much. Wow. Like I'm finally like aware of it. And when you just say thank you, but I'm gonna choose something else. But you have to step into the mode of like the creator. And I think is really what I'm seeing the most is that people do not want to create. Like they want to have an easy life, because like creating is probably perceived to just like doing something and like making it difficult, but it's not. It's supposed to be something else. So yeah, I think we all are at the moment going through the identity crisis. The entire collective is going through the identity crisis. We are still organizing the kingdom. We are fighting for what lights you up, you know, doing what you really love to do. You are looking on your own values, like, do I have a value? Does my stuff have a value? I'm definitely looking on this one, yeah, for sure, for me. Because let's say if you were like humiliated, or if you were like always not getting enough money at work, so then you get the message that you have no value. Or there is as well a lot of, do you remember I was saying in one of the videos that there must be a shadow in a service to others? Yeah, well, I found it. So the shadow to service to others is actually on the value. You think that you have a value only if you giving some service to others, if you serving others. Otherwise you have no value. It's a belief. You know, that's the shadow of the service to others. So, because then here comes a definition about what it is to, you know, how the service to others look like. At the moment, I think we are all having way bigger awareness. The dream state, somebody was asking me about dream state. I got a lot of questions that I want to answer, but maybe I would have to probably do it separate. I don't have that much dreams lately, but I had a lot of dreams my entire life. Lately not, but I'm still getting some, like, yeah, for sure, but not as not as much as I used to. I would say since August last year, since the last time I was out, like, from the body. I don't know what happened in that time. I'm still unraveling it. And beautiful book to listen to this year is Far Journey from Robert Monroe. It's all about his out-of-the-body experiences. You will understand how the realm functions. Because that's how I was being shown how the realm function. Is the outer rings and the earth as a densest place, and the other beings who are actually stuck in the outer realms, they started to create things in there. So there are a lot of different earths and places to go, multidimensional spaces, because they can still not get out without us, because they started to play in as well, and they got stuck. So a lot of groups came there and they got all stuck and more. So I think the galactics didn't even know how much stuck we are in here, because a lot of the other dark beings started to create more complexities in here and more distortions. So it got like completely out of the... Yeah, we are definitely experiencing more than we sign up for sure. And the split of the timeline still continue. You will have a vertigo maybe. I had a vertigo today. Before I just actually got in the call, I got a vertigo. So the vertigo for me is pay attention to which direction you're moving, if you're left or right. If you're moving in the right direction, it's usually the good one. And if you're living in the left one, like pay attention to what you're doing, that you don't get off your timeline. There is definitely gonna be some course correction of the timelines, because we did some moves last year. There were interferences though. I would never do that like consciously. Or I like adopt another dog. 2112. There were interferences in that time, so I got stuck a little bit in like a repeating certain cycle. And maybe you are going through similar situation. So last year in summer we did some moves, and now we are really looking on the consequences. How, let's say for me, it took me like nearly a year to adjust to a new dog in the house. How much more fragmented I got in the meantime, hard to say. So we had interferences, and there are gonna be the other thing that came to my mind like lately is the Archons are 2022. The Archons are creating new timelines for us, and those are the interferences. It could come in a very simple form of like offering of, I don't know, a weed, and you are back on like a smoking. Or it could be in going on the camping trip and falling back into, I don't know, drinking the wine. So it could be, or overeating, or carbs, or sugars, or it could be or shopping. It could be absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. And it will come in this type of a form. Whatever type of addiction you have, that's where you're gonna find right now the interferences are always coming through that avenue. So if you are pulled through screens, it's gonna be coming through that avenue. If you are more on the spectrum of like having a shitty relationships or dealing with relationships, then it's gonna come through that, let's say, avenue. So stay alert and awake. So March is gonna be very interesting. We're gonna be chipping through all the difficulties. We're gonna have to look on the shame, have a look on it. Because like that's the best way how to deal with it, is to get aware of it. The first time you get aware of it, you're done with it. There you just have to understand it. And next time it show up, then it's showing you just a little bit of a different spectrum of the same thing. And when you understand that, then you can just move on, like, okay, it's just that. It's just playing out, because it's a part of the human experience, especially if you're parent. If you're parent, you are gonna be experiencing shame and guilt. That's it. It's a condition you take on as a parent. So when you start like looking on all the trauma pieces and everything what we're dealing with, like a little bit with yeah, I would say the analytical way, then it's fine. And with the shame, the way you actually deal with those pieces, you have to recollect the fragments, right? So that's gonna be a soul retrieval, I would say. Practices on that type of flavor. Definitely. Art has to be implemented into the process, hands on something. Absolutely. I can see that the people are not using this avenue enough. They don't know how to focus long enough. They don't know how to visualize. I mean, the imagination is a key to everything. That faculty, that part is the most important one. Intuition, imagination, sensitivity, empathy, If you have all of that, then you are naturally compassionate person. Anyway, so sleepless nights, sleeping deep, you're gonna be repairing a lot of things are gonna be happening in the body. You might have like, I don't have much dreams, but I have like even like little visions before I fall asleep. Flashlights, like flashes. There is this urge of completion, completing something this year. And I know that if we are destined, when Bashar was saying that we have a IT contact planned the 2026 2027, we have to prepare for it somehow. Yeah. 3 years is not much. And I got a message. I got the same message. I got a 7 years from shift. We are in 4 by that vision I got, or that message I got. Clearing a lot the energy field, like there was as well something about a 0 point. I was constantly getting it. I as well took out my chiastolit. It's this little stone with a cross on it, to get me into the 0 point. It, at least it's the metaphysical properties, but I didn't found. I was questioning it. I have to double check that stone if some interferences doesn't come through there actually. So interferences continue. Everything is a little bit more smart. The entire internet world is transitioning into the AI powered customer services. So all the people who are working in the customer service are scared to losing their job. So a lot of things are going to be replaced by AI. It already is. It is a lot of headache, honestly, as an graphic designer or person who like uses the computer all the time. I can tell you that it's been super tricky, even for me. Overwhelm. Looks like that we're supposed to form physical relationships at the moment, like forming like a little communities where we can function, with all our aspects of like woundedness and whatever it is, gifts and traumas. Yeah, that's for March. There is an urge to solve something. Okay, so I hope this helps, and I'm gonna see you next time, guys. The web is still down, but I'm gonna refresh it. I heard someone talking about the food, and I was like, wow, well, if you hop to my web, it was there. So I was like, maybe that information should be actually there to making the food easier, for us. Because it looks to me that the way we're gonna really do it is that you stop eating entirely, and that will restructure the vessel. But it's already mutated, so OBE, lucid dreaming, Bashar said they did. Yeah, I think that's the way. Like, you know, I mean, you detach from the physical practically. So you don't have to die. You can die. I would say like most of the people would probably choose, oh no, fuck it, like I'm gonna die, you know, and I'm just gonna keep all my pleasures. Because the human experience is of addiction, okay? I wish the people really understand that the entire human experience is the experience of addiction. Totally. You could be addicted to the joy. So we are getting more intel, and we have to reflect back and really and closely, and like taking a time this time to look on the world, maybe, or your world, understanding that you are the creator being, that you have to create. I mean, it's a part of the becoming the player in the game. You have to create consciously. And taking some actions, I guess, because let's say for me, I think this is the biggest problem, this one. I have no vision for myself. I can imagine to having a spacecraft, you know, like in land somewhere, you know, enjoying the piece of land and like just like moving around in the spacecraft. That's my sense of home. You know, I definitely do not want to be like stuck on the airplane. Like, you know, it's in me, it's this kind of like, I was like, I can't find home here. It's impossible. You know, it's good for a visit though. So we're gonna be looking on a lot of aspects as well of your multidimensional self. That one will definitely come more through. We get more intel. It seems to me that like we are more connected. It depends, like if you did a lot of like energy work, or if you are awake for it, depends on how long, and even if it's long enough, sometimes like the trauma pieces we don't deal with are just stuck with us, and we just repeating. I can see how long I can go unconscious, you know, and it's like, wow, it's like years sometimes. So blind spots are gonna come up. I got the message of the 3 red pills, and I hear people talking about very similar analogy. We're gonna be getting all of the density, the most important pieces this year for sure to deal with. And it's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna be something dense, and it's gonna be a lot about like as well finances and creativity and a career, and it's gonna be disrupted in the relationships. So that's for sure for the entire year. Okay, I'm gonna see you next time, you guys. I'm gonna go. And other message I got is unfocused energy. Pay attention to how you spend your energy. Even you can keep a work log or energy log, and you can write down like what you have done. You can keep it for 2 weeks. And then this way you're gonna see how you spend your energy, where you have energy leaks, what you can change. Because we are definitely gonna be asking to detox, because the frequencies is a little bit higher. I don't have like a desire to eat at all. Is I have to really force myself these days, and it's very unusual for me. I always love my food. So maybe it's gonna come back in spring, and when the spring's a little bit hits more. There is a wild garlic in the woods. But considering the river that was polluted, like, you know, I better not to eat like much stuff here like around. I have to choose the different areas, like, you know, where they grow the food. Yeah. And there is gonna be some big movements this year for sure. just like a prediction. Another thing I am looking at is how I'm gonna manage my own intensities. The world got a little bit really too loud. So the exercise, who am I don't know if I did that. I'm not sure. I might have a video about it, but I know that I did. I have it separate for sure. There is this exercise what you can do with yourself that you can just like reflect back on yourself, and it's called Who Am I? You write in the middle of the page Who am I, and you're asking yourself the questions. And you're looking on your past. Let's say you were doing, I don't know, graphic design, illustration, anatomical design, custom tattoo design, web design, graphic design. You know, you were an artist, you were in graffiti, you're interested in this. You just start writing a lot of your interests and a lot of your passions, what you are like, what you have done in the past. You write it on all the page, and you write the jobs you had, you write what you're interested in, what lights you up. You constantly working with your heart space. So there is a meditation before. It's good when you tune up into yourself, into your higher self, like, and just to bring that part through, so that you operate from a different space. And you write this like all down, and so that you have a picture of who you are, and based on that you choose, like, you know, going into that direction of like the creative expression, what lights you up. So it helps. Yeah, that would definitely help. I will put it out there. I think I have it nearly done, so I'm gonna put it out there, and you either find it on my webpage. I'm gonna probably have to put it down. I mean, put it up. I'm gonna run it. Switch it on again. I'm just thinking if there is something else. Oh yeah, sacred space. Sacred space, yeah. I think it is gonna be required, and that's a part of as well that who am I thing, who am I exercise what I have, what I do. You have a look on it, and then you ask yourself the question, okay, so what this type of person needs? What type of space this person needs? Not what type of space is she living in, no, what type of space that person needs. And ask your higher self to just fetch you the information, to download the information, to get the information somehow, and leave it open, because we are guided differently this year. Very differently. You will get the information through a completely different source. You think, oh, you get it through the faculty, but no, you don't. You get it through a stranger, a book, a document, a YouTube, or something like different. Because first there has to be awareness or curiosity, maybe switch on, and then the answer can come. Sometimes you need like this part to get the answer. So this year we are guided this way. I am always asking, and it's so frustrating that you don't get the answers. You get some, let's say if you're using your cards, but if you don't using your cards, you're using only telepathy, and you just like trying to download the intel. Sometimes you need to first have something else to actually be able to download the answer or to get the solution. So it is all about getting used to the fact that you are the creator being, and you came here to create consciously. So you have to consciously create and command your reality all the time. I am doing this. I was thinking about it. I was like, geez, I'm doing such an energy work if I have a look on it, like how much I am constantly resetting myself and constantly removing the tags and interferences. It's endless. I'm doing it twice a day at least. Minimum for me. And I did much more. It was much better. But I am at the moment, I need to pull myself out of the environment. That's what I realized, because the world for me got too much noisy, and I think I own it to myself now, to just like pull myself out of it and put myself in a better, quieter environment. and being in my own energy field. Okay, guys, I see you next time. And yeah, have a good rest of the week. And don't get stuck too much on the shadow work, but like do some. Oh yeah, have a look on the shame. Tim Fletcher has a brilliant series about it. Have a look on it. That is everything: fear, shame, fear, codependency. Have a look on all of the topics, because like you have to know, otherwise you're not done with it. Okay, I see you next time. I hope it helps. Okay, bye.